Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm T with Teresa H Creates, and this is part 3 of my masculine junk journal. So I'm putting this together for my husband for Father's Day, and it is time to do the signatures. And this was my idea. I've played around with it some and then just wanted to kind of bring you in to show you what it is that I'm working on and show you the process of doing one of these. So this is how I store my packing paper that I get from packages from all my Amazon shipments and stuff. The whole family knows to collect these for me. So anytime we get packages in, they give these to me, and I just like fold them over and then put them on my Calyx shelf and just, stack them up and store them this way. And I thought these would be really good bases to use in this journal since it is a 9-inch journal. So I would need papers like 18 inches to go from spine to cover, right? So I decided to use these guys. And what I did is I took it exactly like this. It is not even, it is not equal. I didn't want it to be absolutely 100% perfect. So I just took them as is. I know that the height is 5.5 on these. So I just put them in my guillotine cutter and cut them at 5.5 increments. And so I ended up with rolls like this. So I know that I want 18 inches. I've been using my grid here. I think I'm always crooked and I don't know why. I don't know if it's my eyeball, it's probably my setup, but anyway, we're gonna go with it. So what I've been doing is just taking it and rolling it out. Now I do want kind of the ends to be, they don't have to be perfect, but I do want them to be a little bit nicer. So I've just been kind of tearing off the ends here to make sure that I've got just a kind of a nice straightish edge to work with. Then I've been measuring out 18 inches, which 18 inches on my little grid here is all the way to here. So I'm going to line it up and then I am going to just tear it off. And that's how I've been doing it. So I've been going through the process of just rolling these out and tearing off. And then any extras that I have left over, I'm putting to the side to use as scrap. So mine are not necessarily terribly neat. They're really wrinkled. I'm not sure why. I think it's probably just the method in which they, are packed up, that they get all these little wrinkles in it. But anyhow, I've just been kind of straightening them out as best as I can. So what I've been doing is just kind of folding them over, at the 9-inch mark. So if I put them in here, then you can see it's roughly, there might be a little bit of trimming that needs to happen later. I can do that later. I'm not really worried about it. I just want a nice base. That is it. So if I take this one and I fold it in half and I create my little score line here, right? One thing I am doing is, because this is still paper, I'm reinforcing this seam right here, this score line in the center here with washi tape. It's just what I do. It's what I do. Once I stitch these in, I want them to, to have some support. And I'm afraid that this paper may be too thin to support the entire book on its own. So if I put washi in here, it'll help reinforce it. And then I have, a better chance of this really holding together well. Plus, then I'm using all of this scrap that I have in here. I do like to use these on occasion. I have another tutorial I did where I made book pages or journal pages out of this, and it was kind of a mixed media style. And this one, I'm adding papers to it, honestly, because I do want like all those little decorative papers and stuff in this journal. I do still want them in there. It's just that none of them are quite long enough. Some of them I think I will go in and I will add maybe some of the longer ones. But for right now, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to work on, I guess, the first page of my journal, and I pulled out a couple of things that I think that I might want to do. So I really like this blue page. I think it's going to look really nice in the front of this. And then I really like this ledger. So I do know that both of these need to be cut down to 5.5. I'm not going to take any length off of them, but I am going to cut them down to 5.5. All right, so I've got my 2 pieces and I've got them cut down to 5.5. And then here's what I'm thinking. I don't necessarily need this entire strip here, but what I do want is I do need a way to attach it. So I'm thinking of actually kind of tearing this and maybe having it overlap this piece. So I kind of want it to be a little bit of a rough edge. And maybe we'll go in, let's see. Let me get this on here and measure it, maybe about 1.5 inches. So that'd be roughly about here. There we go. And then I think I want it, not quite sure what I want. I've got kind of an idea in mind, but then I'm not 100% sure. Okay. So this is my first page, and I was thinking of kind of maybe just roughing this up and leaving it here on this side and so this is going to be my first page, front and back, right? But it's attached to this guy. So let's see. I've been using a combination of my tape runner and then my wet glue. This paper is so thin, this packing paper, it's not super forgiving. So, and I might have gotten this a little bit too far over, but we'll work with it. We'll work with it. Nope, I don't want to go all the way into the edge because I want to give it room to, for me to stitch in here in the center. So there we go. I didn't go all the way. So my idea or my thought is that I would just kind of rough this up a little bit. And I've got some of this scorched timber. And that way it might add a little bit of texture in here. I think I'm out of frame. Sorry, guys. All right. Then I can go through and get some of those wrinkles in there. Just kind of highlight all that goodness. Get some of these edges. And I may have to go back and trim some of this paper, this paper, sorry, the packing paper. But that's fine. I just want to kind of get the bases in there and then I can trim later. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to leave this like it is for now. I think I'm pretty happy with that the way it is. So I'm going to leave it for now. I'll decorate the pages later. I really just want to kind of get the bases down. So this is page 1 and then page 2. I'll come in and do something here. I got to think about what I kind of want to add here to get it like locked down. I'll probably put maybe a piece of washi or something here, so that I can make sure that this part stays down, or I may just go in and glue it and that way it'll be reinforced. Okay, sorry about that. The lawn guy's here and he decided to mow right outside my my window here, so it got pretty loud. Anyhow, back to it. I think that I'll probably use some washi or something to cover this. Maybe something different than this though, but let's go ahead and move on. So I also like this piece and I really like this edge right here. So I don't know if I want to put it here and do a similar situation as this, on this other side, or if I want to do this, well, you know what? I'd have to trim off quite a bit of that so that I could bring this in and this could be my edge. I think I might put the rough edge on the inside. I might do that. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, I kind of like it out here. But I don't want to have to go back later and trim it in because, as you start stacking the signatures, they kind of push out. But, this is the last one, though. This is my first page, so this would be my last page. So I might go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 9 and then put it in this way. Okay, let me do that. Okay, so that doesn't give me a ton of wiggle room, which is fine. That's totally fine. So again, I don't want this to be the back page. I want this to be the back page. So I'm going to tear this down just like I did on this one. So let's go ahead. I think I did like 1.5 inches here. Let's go ahead and do the same. So about there. And then I'll go ahead and ink this up as well. Crinkle it up some more, maybe get some rips in there, distress it a little bit. I might come in and distress it some more later. I need some more ink on here. Get some of this in here. I don't know how far back I'm going to go with that ledger. Okay. So front page, back page. This is going to go here. I do want to line it up with this just in case I've got to trim some of this off, because I cut these right at 5.5 and see this is a little bit longer on both sides. So I'll probably have to go in and trim it just a little bit. So I do want to make sure that these two are lined up almost perfectly. Let me put the lid on this so I'm not getting extra ink everywhere. So that's what I am going to do. So here and here. And I'm intentionally not going all the way into the center, like I said, just because I want it to be able to have a nice fold there, get plenty of room. I think that that looks about right. All right, and then I've got this fold, and it looks good. And it looks like I need to trim that a little bit there, and then I'll trim on that side there. All right. And then, you know what? Maybe I go in with another piece of this. Maybe I just stress it up and then just go in on top of these with another piece of this right here. I think that that is a good idea. So I think I need about 3 inches then. Doesn't have to be exact like the other one, but I did like 1.5 inches, I think, and 1.5 inches. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do 4 inches, give 2 inches on each side. I'm really wanting this to kind of get those wrinkles. I really want that ink to pick some of that up. So let's kind of distress this edge a little bit. And here. Get some more ink. So right now, all I'm really working on is getting these bases down, and then I'll go in and decorate them later and, you know, put all my ephemera in. Plus, I've got to print all the pictures and stuff because this one is actually going to be like a memory book, you know, of our relationship. So I do want to highlight some of his interests. He does have a track car. He does like to go to the track, something that we do together. I do not race. I'm not a risk taker like that. But I do go out and spend time with him while he's there at the track and he races. So, all right. So I think that I can put that down there in the center. I don't use the tape anytime that I am going to make a pocket. I only use the tape, you know, when I want it to go down, when it's a permanent stick. Because if I start adding things to a pocket and I've got tape in there, my concern is that it will actually, you know, start picking up those tags or those journal cards, you know, they'll get caught in the tape and everything. So that is the reasoning behind that. Not worried about lining these up perfectly. They're going to be in separate parts of the book, so I'm not really worried about it. Burnish it a little bit, get it down nice and straight. Let me flip it over and see if I need to trim. I need to trim down here for sure. Yeah, and I cut this end, I cut quite a bit longer than the other because I think I did 4 inches on it. So, which is fine. Totally fine. Okay, I think that that's good. Let me get some of this edge in here. And I may come back and take care of the edges of these as well. I'm just not sure. So I want to kind of leave myself some options there. All right, we put the glue on. So this is what I have so far. This will be my first page, right? So that makes this my last page. And see, this goes all the way to the end and it fits perfectly. So that should be good. I do know that this one I'll have to trim down, which again, I'll do most of my trimming at a later time once I get everything in, because if I decide to move things around, I don't want to end up with things that are drastically shorter or longer and have to trim even more. So here are a few of them that I did make. Huge Star Wars fan. Huge Star Wars fan. So I do have some Star Wars paper, and I went ahead and made a couple of these. This is kind of what I was practicing with. And I folded it over here, but I know that if I need to trim the edges, I can. It's not a big deal, but this is a nice pocket here. And then a nice deep pocket here. And You Don't Know the Power of the Dark Side. And then here, and then my Yoda here, and a nice deep pocket there. So if I fit them all in together, it's going to start transforming, and this is what it will start looking like. I'm pretty excited. I think it looks good. And then I'll just keep adding, you know, pages and stuff based on his interest. I think that I'm probably going to do 10 to 12 pages in here, but I'll continue to work on that. And I do have all of my pages pre-torn. So there they are. And I will continue to work on that and build it up. I don't know if the next video that I do will actually be a flip through, or we'll be doing some ephemera. I'm not sure yet, but I will do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch here, and I'm probably going to do the string on the end, on the outside of it, so that I can put some dangles and stuff there. I think that that's what I'm going to do with that. Anyhow, if you have any questions, just put them down in the comment section, and I'll be sure to comment or to respond to those. Thanks for spending some time with me, and until next time, bye.